Welcome back to Espresso English, everyone. I'm David, your host, and joining me today is the ever-insightful Linda. How are you doing today, Linda?
I'm great, David, and really excited for today's episode. We have a fascinating discussion lined up for you all.
Absolutely. Today, we're diving into a comprehensive article that traces the evolution of the global economy, from the humble beginnings of barter systems all the way to our complex modern markets.
And it's not just about economics. The article is a treasure trove of advanced vocabulary and idiomatic expressions, which is perfect for anyone preparing for the IELTS exam.
That's right. We'll be unpacking some key epochs in economic history, including the significant roles of Iran and the legendary Silk Road. These elements really underscore how ancient trade routes connected multiple continents and fueled cultural and commercial exchanges.
Exactly, David. We'll discuss how ancient Persia acted as a bridge between the East and West, and how the Silk Road became the circulatory system of international trade. Plus, we'll point out some of those spice-of-life idioms and advanced words that can really boost your IELTS vocabulary.
So whether you're here to gain insights into economic history or to pick up some top-tier language tips for your IELTS exam, this episode is tailor-made for you.
Get ready for an engaging conversation that will help you understand how historical narratives can be woven into your language practice, making learning both enlightening and fun.
All right, let's kick off our discussion and journey through time and language together. Because at Espresso English, every word counts, and every historical nuance is a stepping stone to mastering English.
Let's get started.
The tapestry of economic history is as intricate as it is fascinating, woven together with myriad threads of innovation, policy, and social evolution. Over centuries, the economic landscape has undergone radical transformations, from rudimentary barter systems to the sophisticated global markets of today. This article delves into the history of the economy, examining key epochs that have shaped its current form, with particular attention paid to Iran's pivotal role and the Silk Road's undeniable impact on ancient multi-continent trade. Rich advanced vocabulary and idiomatic expressions will underscore the narrative of economic evolution.
All right, Linda. Let's kick off our analysis with this opening line. The tapestry of economic history is as intricate as it is fascinating, woven together with myriad threads of innovation, policy, and social evolution.
Great start, David. When you say tapestry, you're painting a picture of economic history as something complex and interconnected, much like a finely woven fabric. It emphasizes how various elements, like innovation, policy, and social change, are intertwined.
Exactly, Linda. And when I say intricate, it means that the subject is detailed and complex, with many interdependent parts. This word sets the stage for understanding the multifaceted nature of our economic past.
Also, notice the phrase, woven together with myriad threads. Here, myriad is an advanced word that simply means a countless or extremely great number. In this context, it highlights the vast number of factors that have contributed to the development of economies over time.
That's a perfect explanation. Now, moving on to another segment. Ancient Persia acted as a strategic nexus, bridging cultures and facilitating transcontinental commerce.
Yes, David. When you mention strategic nexus, it implies a central or pivotal point that connects different elements, in this case, regions and cultures. It's a term that elevates the description of Persia's role in historical trade.
And bridging cultures is an idiom that suggests bringing together different societies, allowing for a rich exchange of ideas and goods. It's like building a bridge over a river, connecting two separate banks.
Exactly. Plus, transcontinental commerce refers to trade that spans across continents, underlining the enormous scope and influence of these ancient trade routes.
Moving further into the text, here's another part. Even amidst the turbulence of transformative epochs, early civilizations harnessed innovation as a beacon of progress.
When you say harnessed innovation, it means they effectively utilized new ideas and technologies to drive forward progress despite the challenges of turbulent times.
And describing innovation as a beacon of progress is a metaphor, suggesting that innovation acted like a guiding light, illuminating the path forward even in difficult circumstances.
These kinds of advanced vocabulary and idiomatic expressions not only enrich the narrative, but also help us see economic history as a dynamic, evolving story rather than just a sequence of events.
Exactly, Linda. Each of these phrases invites us to look deeper into the historical context and appreciate the complexity of economic development.
And that's what we love about this article, its ability to merge advanced language with historical insight, making the subject both informative and engaging for learners preparing for the IELTS exam.
Well put, Linda. All right, folks, if you're with us, I hope these explanations have helped demystify some of the advanced language and idioms used in the text.
Definitely. And now, without further ado, let's continue the text.
Early economic systems and the birth of trade. In the nascent stages of civilization, human societies primarily engaged in subsistence activities with little surplus. However, as communities began to settle, the advent of agriculture engendered surplus production, leading to the emergence of trade. Early barter systems, though rudimentary, set the stage for the development of more sophisticated methods of exchange. These primitive economic transactions were a veritable baptism by fire that paved the way for the establishment of standardized currencies and units of measurement, ultimately fostering economic stability and trust. Civilizations such as Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, and the Indus Valley were among the pioneers in commerce. A watershed moment occurred with the invention of coinage in ancient Lydia, a transformative shift from barter to a monetary economy that not only facilitated smoother transactions, but also underscored the social revolution behind economic progress. In these early societies, the seeds of economic organization were sown, enabling communities to trade more efficiently and lay the groundwork for more complex economic structures.
Let's jump into the next part of the text. Early economic systems and the birth of trade. In the nascent stages of civilization, human societies primarily engaged in subsistence activities with little surplus.
Right, David. When the text mentions nascent stages, it's referring to the very beginning or early development of civilization. It's an advanced term that gives us a sense of something just coming into existence.
Exactly. And subsistence activities means that people were focused on merely surviving, producing just enough to meet their basic needs, with very little left over for trade or innovation.
Moving on, the text says, however, as communities began to settle, the advent of agriculture engendered surplus production, leading to the emergence of trade. Here, advent is another advanced word that means the beginning or arrival of something significant.
And engendered surplus production is a phrase that tells us agriculture didn't just provide food, it produced an extra yield. Engendered here means brought about or caused, highlighting how a surplus created the conditions necessary for trade.
Exactly, David. And notice how this surplus laid the groundwork for the emergence of trade. This is a clear cause and effect relationship. Once there was extra production, trade could naturally develop.
Now, the text continues. Early barter systems, though rudimentary, set the stage for the development of more sophisticated methods of exchange. The word rudimentary here implies that these systems were very basic or primitive.
Yes, and set the stage is an idiom that means to create the conditions for something to happen later on. In this case, it suggests that even these basic systems were crucial in paving the way for more advanced economic practices.
Right on. Next, we have, these primitive economic transactions were a veritable baptism by fire that paved the way for the establishment of standardized currencies and units of measurement, ultimately fostering economic stability and trust.
Baptism by fire is an idiom meaning a difficult or challenging initiation into a new role or task. It suggests that these early economic experiments were tough, but ultimately crucial for progress.
And pave the way is another idiom that reinforces the idea of preparing the ground for something significant to develop later. In this case, standardized currencies and measurement systems.
Exactly. The phrase fostering economic stability and trust implies that these developments weren't just technical, they also helped build confidence in the economic systems, which is essential for long-term growth.
The next section states, civilizations such as Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt, and the Indus Valley were among the pioneers in commerce.
Here, pioneers is a term used to describe those who are among the first to explore or develop something new. In this case, it refers to these civilizations being the trailblazers in the realm of commerce.
Then it continues. A watershed moment occurred with the invention of coinage in ancient Lydia, a transformative shift from barter to a monetary economy that not only facilitated smoother transactions, but also underscored the social revolution behind economic progress.
Watershed moment is an idiom that means a turning point, a critical point that marks a significant change. It's used to highlight how important the invention of coinage was.
And transformative shift emphasizes a dramatic change, moving from a barter system to a monetary economy. This shift didn't just improve transactions, it also signified a major social revolution, highlighting how intertwined economic changes and social structures can be.
Finally, the text concludes this section with, in these early societies, the seeds of economic organization were sown, enabling communities to trade more efficiently and lay the groundwork for more complex economic structures.
The phrase, the seeds of economic organization were sown, is a metaphor. It means that the basic ideas or principles of organized economic systems were planted at this early stage, which later grew into more elaborate structures.
And lay the groundwork, again, is an idiom that means to create a solid foundation for something to develop in the future.
All of these advanced terms and idiomatic expressions enrich the narrative, making the text both informative and engaging.
Absolutely. They not only describe historical developments, but also help us understand the broader impact these changes had on society.
Well, that wraps up our analysis of this segment.
Without further ado, let's continue the text.
Iran and its strategic position in trade. Iran, historically known as Persia, has always occupied a strategic nexus between East and West. Its unique geographical location meant that it served as a linchpin in early transcontinental trade networks. Long before modern nation-states emerged, ancient Persia was a melting pot of cultures, ideas, and commodities. This crossroad of civilizations was instrumental in connecting disparate regions through trade routes that would eventually culminate in the legendary Silk Road. Persian merchants were known for their acumen and their ability to navigate diverse cultural landscapes. They exchanged not only spices, textiles, and precious metals, but also ideas and technologies that enriched the societies they touched. In this way, Iran became synonymous with economic dynamism, a critical intermediary that helped propel the development of an integrated trade network spanning multiple continents. The contributions of Persian traders serve as a testament to the age-old adage that, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, adapting and thriving amid shifting cultural and economic currents.
Now, let's take a closer look at the section titled, Iran and its strategic position in trade. The text begins with, Iran, historically known as Persia, has always occupied a strategic nexus between East and West. Linda, what do you think about the phrase strategic nexus?
Strategic nexus is a powerful phrase, David. Nexus means a central or focal point, so in this context, it emphasizes that Iran was at the heart of connections between two significant regions, the East and the West. It's an advanced term that really highlights Iran's crucial position in early trade.
Exactly. The next sentence states, its unique geographical location meant that it served as a linchpin in early transcontinental trade networks. Now, the word linchpin is another interesting choice. Could you break that down for our listeners?
Sure. A linchpin is something that holds various elements together, ensuring stability and coherence. In this sentence, it means that Iran was essential in connecting different trade networks across continents. Without Iran, these networks might not have been as integrated or successful.
That's a perfect explanation, Linda. The text then continues, long before modern nation-states emerged, ancient Persia was a melting pot of cultures, ideas, and commodities. The term melting pot is an idiom. How would you explain that?
Melting pot is an idiom that describes a place where different cultures and ideas blend together, much like various metals melting into one alloy. It signifies that ancient Persia was a vibrant center where diverse elements came together and enriched each other.
Well put. The passage further describes Persia as a crossroad of civilizations that connected disparate regions via trade routes, eventually leading to the legendary Silk Road. Linda, what does crossroad of civilizations imply here?
Crossroad of civilizations suggests that Persia was a critical meeting point for different cultures, ideas, and commodities. It indicates that various societies converged here, making it a hub for both economic and cultural exchanges.
Exactly. And then we have this sentence. Persian merchants were known for their acumen and their ability to navigate diverse cultural landscapes. The word acumen is another advanced term. Could you explain it?
Of course. Acumen refers to the ability to make good judgments and quick decisions, typically in a particular domain. In this case, it means that Persian merchants were exceptionally skilled in understanding and maneuvering through different cultural and economic environments.
Great explanation. The text goes on to note that these merchants exchanged not only spices, textiles, and precious metals, but also ideas and technologies. This demonstrates that Iran became synonymous with economic dynamism. Linda, can you shed some light on what economic dynamism means?
Economic dynamism describes an economy that is vibrant, innovative, and constantly changing. It underscores the idea that Persian traders were not only active in commerce, but also catalysts for economic growth and innovation.
Right on point, Linda. The final sentence in this section says, the contributions of Persian traders serve as a testament to the age-old adage that, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, adapting and thriving amid shifting cultural and economic currents. How would you explain that idiom to our listeners?
The idiom, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, means that one should adopt the customs and behaviors of the place where one is. Here, it implies that Persian traders were successful because they were flexible and adept at adapting to new cultural and economic environments, which allowed them to thrive even as conditions changed.
That's a thorough breakdown, Linda. It's impressive how advanced vocabulary and idioms in this text paint such a vivid picture of Iran's pivotal role in ancient trade.
Absolutely, David. Each phrase and idiom enhances the narrative, making the historical significance of Iran and its merchants both engaging and accessible to us as learners.
Well, if you're with us and following along, I hope these explanations have helped clarify some of the more complex language in this section.
They certainly have. And now, without further ado, let's continue the text.
The Silk Road, the artery of multi-continent trade. Arguably one of the most influential trade networks in human history, the Silk Road was not a single road, but rather an intricate web of routes that connected Asia, Europe, and Africa. This vast network enabled the exchange of luxury goods such as silk, spices, and ceramics, as well as groundbreaking ideas, technologies, and cultural practices. The Silk Road was truly a case of all roads lead to Rome, in a metaphorical sense, where every trade route converged to create an interconnected global marketplace. The importance of the Silk Road cannot be overstated. It acted as the circulatory system of ancient commerce, fostering economic interdependence among nations and facilitating an unprecedented level of cultural exchange. Caravans traversed treacherous deserts and rugged mountain ranges, braving the elements and myriad dangers, all in pursuit of lucrative opportunities. The perilous journeys of these merchants, who often burned the midnight oil to ensure the safe passage of their goods, underscore the inherent risks and rewards of early international trade.
Let's dive into the next section, the Silk Road, the artery of multi-continent trade. Right off the bat, artery is an advanced metaphor here. It compares the Silk Road to a major blood vessel that carries vital resources, in this case, trade and culture, across continents.
Exactly, David. And when we say multi-continent trade, it emphasizes that this network spanned multiple continents, Asia, Europe, and Africa, highlighting its vast reach and influence.
The passage then describes the Silk Road as not a single road, but rather an intricate web of routes. Here, intricate web is a vivid expression that paints a picture of complex and interwoven pathways, much like a spider's web. It underscores the complexity and connectivity of these ancient trade routes.
Right, and it continues with groundbreaking ideas, technologies, and cultural practices. Groundbreaking is an advanced term meaning revolutionary or innovative. It tells us that the exchanges on the Silk Road weren't just about goods, but also about transformative ideas and innovations.
Now, let's look at the idiom, all roads lead to Rome. Even though Rome isn't literally the destination here, it's used metaphorically to suggest that all trade routes converged to create an interconnected global marketplace. It's a clever way of illustrating how various routes, though different, all contributed to a single, unified economic system.
And then there's the circulatory system of ancient commerce. This metaphor reinforces the idea that the Silk Road functioned like a network of blood vessels, sustaining economic life by ensuring that resources, ideas, and goods were constantly in motion among nations.
Absolutely. The text also mentions caravans traversed treacherous deserts and rugged mountain ranges. The word treacherous here is an advanced adjective that conveys extreme danger, while rugged describes rough and challenging terrain. These words help us visualize the physical hardships faced by the merchants.
Another great example is when the passage states that these merchants braved the elements and myriad dangers. The idiom braved the elements means they endured harsh weather conditions, and myriad dangers uses an advanced word, myriad, to indicate countless risks. Both phrases really bring out the peril and determination involved in ancient trade.
Then, there's the expression, burned the midnight oil. Linda, can you explain that for our listeners?
Sure. Burning the midnight oil is an idiom meaning to work late into the night. In this context, it suggests that the merchants went to great lengths, working tirelessly to ensure the safe passage of their goods. It paints a vivid picture of their dedication and the significant effort required to overcome the challenges of long-distance trade.
All of these advanced words and idioms not only enrich the narrative, but also help us understand the monumental role that the Silk Road played in linking disparate parts of the world through trade and cultural exchange.
Absolutely, David. It's fascinating to see how language can bring historical events to life and make them relatable even today.
Well, folks, I hope these explanations have helped clarify some of the advanced vocabulary and idioms used in this section of the text. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Espresso English. What an insightful journey through history and language, Linda.
Absolutely, David. We explored how the Silk Road not only connected continents, but also became the lifeblood of ancient commerce. We unpacked some really powerful vocabulary and idioms that help bring history to life.
We hope that our discussion today has given you a clearer understanding of these advanced expressions and their historical contexts. Remember, Every idiom and every advanced word you learn is another step toward mastering English for your IELTS exam.
Thank you all for tuning in and being a part of our exploration into economic history and language. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with fellow language learners.
We'll be back soon with more intriguing discussions and in-depth language tips to help you on your IELTS journey. Until next time, keep learning and keep exploring.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Let's continue to make every word count. See you next time on Espresso English.